Hi, welcome to another episode of The Board. I'm Christina.
Toxin.
And
That guy.
Random. You get if you haven't noticed.
All right, yeah, let's do this.
Our October pick is
Joker. Yeah, my boy Jay.
I used to think that my life was a tragedy. But now I realize it's a comedy.
You just
Joker. This is a more of an intense, serious approach to the comic character, the Joker.
There you go.
It goes depth into who he is inside and how he becomes the Joker, because actually he was someone before. This movie is kind of a build-up movie, right?
Exactly, and we never really get a backstory behind Joker through all the years. You know, you get bits and pieces, so it was good to finally get a solid movie. Pick the perfect person. So.
And I think this is the first time, instead of it being a hero, this is actually a movie of a villain.
Yeah.
So this is we're moving in that direction because this villain is important to the comic book world. He constantly keeps coming up. They had a lot of references of the silent film reference, The Man Who Laughs.
Yeah,
That's
I
a
love
very
that.
good one.
Yes,
Look
yes.
that up. It's a silent film, black and white. I saw a lot of Chaplin.
Yeah.
Not to mention the little clip they had of Chaplin.
Yeah. So when he was.
I almost wanted to say Harpo Marx was there, but I don't know. Did you guys see that? I know I saw the big bozo clown shoes, but
Man, you
I wanted to see Harpo.
I don't know how he was hauling ass with those bozo shoes. I'm just saying. You got to dazzle up in that motherfucker.
And then you have a lot of his mime work. He does a lot of mime work, like the famous mime Marceau.
There you go.
And Marceau is known for The Mask Maker. Look at that skit. It's pretty interesting. And the film is based in the 80s. A lot of interesting events happened in the 80s, and they were on point. I
was actually born in 81, so I didn't realize anything. So
I didn't realize anything.
But their references were on point. They did have a subway shooting. Someone was convicted of that. And they did have the rise of the spike of the crime started happening.
There you go, and I loved it. We were in Gotham, you know, this shit was happening. Because, you know, that city's been around. It's supposed to be like New York, been around forever, so.
And so from the get-go, you see this, you're introduced to this character, and from the get, they have intense music. I did a little research on the cello piece, like I said, and it starts off light, but every time Arthur is upset, it gets dark. And the lady that wrote that, she actually wrote that piece for the Joker. She was given the script, she read it, and she instantly said, played some notes and said, this is who he is. She actually felt sorry for the guy. And it's true.
Score.
And I did too. And I like when you introduce in the first shot, you know, he's making this odd laugh. And of course, if you're watching this, if you haven't watched Joker yet, the Joker, go turn it off, go watch it right now. But he begins by, and you're like waiting, and then it's nothing to laugh about, man. It's crazy.
Right, it's nothing to laugh at. No, you're good. You guys, we're
He
just
has
kind
a
of
condition.
He did have a condition.
I want the card that has this condition on it.
And then we'll get
I want it in my wallet.
into that condition more later. We're kind of building you up to the Joker, because once we get to him, we're going to talk so much about him. He does a lot of dance moves.
As you saw.
Similar to that. And I think the dancing is just his expression
You hate my dance
of
moves.
letting go of his stress,
Yes.
letting go of his anxiety. The most important dance move is when we all see him in the restroom.
Oh, yeah.
Dancing. And it's not like the other
Ooh,
dance
shit.
moves,
Yeah.
because even the beginning dance moves to that restroom scene where he changes to the full-blown Joker, they're all different dances, and they all mean something.
And the moment I saw it, I knew it. I was like, he turned, he changed. You know, he grew.
He liked it.
he
You liked
metamorphosed.
it.
Yeah,
Metamorphosized, right? We're talking about the
Exactly.
Joker, yeah.
Dude,
Now we're
and
on
it
the
was
Joker.
and it was a beautiful moment. I was just like, damn it, so go ahead.
You are no.
It's
Now we
beautiful.
talk, now
It's
it's
beautiful.
freeform. You talk about anything. We're talking about the Joker. Now when we actually see Arthur Fleck, and I wanted to dissect Arthur's name, King Arthur, of course, King Arthur. But this is how he doesn't see himself as the king, as Arthur, but he does as the Joker.
Mm-hmm.
When you're a king,
I'm
it's only
crying.
you and nobody else matters, right?
Yep.
Although you
Exactly.
do for the land, but it's not. You still make the final decision. And then I also wanted to put, and then they put him in the colors royalty, which is purple. But his
Oh,
last
yeah,
name,
yeah.
if you flip it over and you turn the K into a P, I learned this in literature class because we dissected names. You do learn in literature.
Got it.
And then it becomes help. So his last name Fleck is help. And,
What?
and think about it. Joker is asking for help.
Yeah, well, yeah, he's
Once
acting
he
out.
gets to the point where he's full blown Joker, then there's no coming back.
Exactly.
Right? The Joker, you want to touch on him?
Yeah,
His
definitely.
depiction, Joaquin. How did Joaquin do?
Joaquin did really well. I mean, what can I say about Joaquin? I mean, anyways,
The Phoenix.
the Phoenix. I think like we were talking about how he changed when he was already in clown mask, but you can still see him was sad going through the subway, still dealing with his mental illness. But when he, as soon as he changed, when he walked out, with his
This is when
hotel,
he was in the clown, like
dude,
he goes
like
to
it's
job
full,
to job.
yeah, job. He was still, you can still see a broken man in that, and I love I don't know, we can jump already, but the flashbacks where he met that one girl, and I can like, I was just saying, like, there's moments where like your mind, like as me, want to be a storyteller one day that I continue a story where it's not even like it was just a simple high. So I kind of related to that where when I was a younger lad there. I was like, geez, am I a weirdo now? That's what I was thinking like when I was watching the movie. But
And Arthur, talking about Arthur, let me jump into Arthur's character. Arthur is the guy that becomes Joker. He's a guy that gets beat up, scrawny, bony. I mean, you can see his rib cage. Very ill looking.
Lost like 50 pounds.
He goes from job to job, dressed as a clown, and that's what Roland was talking about, where you can just see the aged appearance.
Exactly.
And just the unhealthiness, just the sadness, the depression, the mental illness.
Exactly.
The
It was
seven
almost
medications that he's on.
And the several medications that he's
yeah, he
on.
was almost trying to get away
Right.
from that because when he went home, I mean,
was all depressing
come on,
there,
I
sure.
mean,
But once
we could talk
he
about
goes, okay, first 45 minutes of the film, he does his first killing.
first
and
45
that's
minutes,
the
and my sisters timed it.
I did. Then it's the subway. It's the subway killings, and he's pushed because this is a guy that's trying to make it in everyday society, and he's pushed to the edge by these bullies on the subway. He happens to have a gun. He shoots these
Exactly.
guys.
And I think even though if he would have got to his card, they would have still like leave him. I mess with him.
Yeah.
I'm trying to keep
And
it
his
classy,
card,
not trashy.
yeah. And his card, he explains, right?
Yeah, exactly. It explains, but like one of them grabbed the bag and threw
That's
it. and
true.
stuff
So
like
he didn't
that.
have a chance to bring his card out.
Exactly, and he was constantly laughing, and I was like, man, this is a good part where and I thought he was just gonna maybe slice him because as I know Joker, he has
likes knives.
He likes to have his choice of
Oh, he
the
does
knife.
like guys. I didn't know that.
So, and he only used the scissors in this movie. He usually mostly the guns, which I didn't mind it. So,
Yeah.
but he pulled it out and went to work, and I was just like, okay, we're starting this way. I was already invested, George.
It was
badass.
It was intense. At the movie theater I work at, after that,
I was like that.
I'm guessing it was
Like action, I'm like-
45 minutes into it that
Yes,
a mom and a 5-year-old kid walked out of the movie. So I'm guessing it was that scene when
yeah.
he
Oh,
shoots him.
yeah.
Because I didn't expect it when I first saw it. That I kind of was like, oh, okay, I didn't think he was gonna jump. I thought he was gonna fight back, but
And
I
then-
didn't think, and it was gonna be an accident. But he
Yeah,
just full on
yeah.
just murdered all 3 of them.
Yeah, and he followed the guy, and then like that's when he was like,
And he kind of gained a silent pleasure from it.
Mhm.
And the card says he has a mental brain injury that he laughs. So he's trying to explain to people, I'm not a weirdo. This is why. But
Yeah.
he didn't have a chance to show them guys. But like Roland said, he thinks if he would have showed them, they still would have beat him up. And that mental illness is called pseudo-bulbar effect. Pseudo-bulbar effect, and that
Pseudo-bulbar.
has uncontrollable
Fubar.
impulses. And he does his Yeah. and you're, if you're riding on the subway with somebody, they look at him like, at least the generation I grew up with, like, look at him, what's wrong with that man?
And he is dressed like a clown with the mask and everything, and like with the hair piece and stuff. So, and then they just got finished doing like messing with the girl, and it didn't work out. It was just a
And
bad
then
choice. Bad
there's a
place.
little twisted part about the Batman, because they do the reference of Bruce Wayne comes out, Thomas Wayne comes out.
Yes,
so, they do tie him in with the it is in Gotham.
Yes. Love that.
And they tie him in with the Waynes, and they had this part where it's kind of twisted, where they made it seem because Arthur,
The mother,
which is the
yeah.
Joker, worked for Thomas Wayne, and they said that
She was
was
like a servant or
Yeah.
something like, and then she thought they had they had some kind of affair. So we met the young Bruce Wayne. I'm just saying.
we saw the young Bruce Wayne, right?
Bruce Wayne.
Yeah, we did. We met him. But they
don't
they
know.
almost had him like they were related, and I almost wanted that to be true, because now it made sense to me why the Joker and Batman hate each other,
Exactly.
because they happen to be related. But they kind of erased that after a while. But I did like that.
But how the hell his Master Wayne is gonna be his playground right there by the damn gate, where this weirdo can walk up with the red nose.
That's true.
Which it was just played out well. I like how it was just played out well.
Joaquin did an
Excellent.
excellent job. I'm seeing nominations.
The Phoenix.
The Phoenix.
Joker.
And not the bullshit X-Men movie that it blew out of the water opening weekend.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I first saw
I'm excited
Joaquin
about it, too.
Phoenix in Parenthood. And he was the little boy in there, and I kind of, and he's related to River Phoenix. That's River Phoenix's brother.
Harvey.
And we could see him evolve into this wonderful actor. He took the Joker to another dimension.
Dude.
Even the costume, him and the director and the costume maker
They were-
wanted to make it different.
Yeah,
That's why he's in a
that's-
burgundy
Exactly.
opposed to a purple. He
Kind of
wanted to
that
make
way.
it his own.
Yeah, exactly. They didn't want to reference any old Joker, which I accepted it. Like how when they busted out, he was like he's the birth of these Jokers. If you can put it down,
Cesar Romero.
you know what I mean? Like he was the birth of it, and then like I would say Heath Ledger like kind of followed, and with the Jared Leto kind of character follow along, because they can be just other guys portraying the man, and Joaquin Phoenix is the man. That's it.
He's portrayed the Joker very well. Then you have two different.
I'm nervous.
Arthur Fleck, that's wimpy and scrawny, and then he metamorphosizes
Dude.
into this Joker that walks out of his apartment with confidence. Actually looks like he gained 20 pounds. Has a cigarette in his hand, and nobody's going to mess with him. He does a dance coming down the stairs. Again, that's just his power. And I also found a little twist how the same neighborhood made the Joker rises the Joker. They become his fan, because at one point he gets in a car accident, and his fans from the street, because they're rioting, which was
Right, 'cause
notorious
at
back
this-
in the 80s.
At this point, they were like, this murder happened of these. Of course, the main murder happened of these Wall Street rich folks, and it was a clown figure running away. So that was the symbol of it was a clown's was a symbol in this time. So he walked out with this full clown suit, but sharp. Like, well, you always seen the commercial. If you ever seen the movie, go see the movie.
Go see the movie. I know we're referencing it a lot, but it's very intense. And we're missing a lot. Arthur is mentally ill. It's a genetic disorder.
Yes,
His mom is mentally ill. Obviously, she thought Thomas Wayne was.
Yeah,
the father
it's
of the
always
child.
like in movies where how the kid is like taking care of the parent. Where
Right.
how are you saying it? Like
It's always.
watching, like why?
Yeah,
it always creeps me out. Like why? Are you
In
watching
all movies, when you
Shit.
see
Mama's titties are out.
a young child bathing their mom, I already knew immediately there was mental illness. But that is not a normal circumstance. So when they introduce that in any film, I already know where it's going, and I figured it out.
I'm like,
What else about?
Crazy.
It's typical mental illness. Arthur's very age. Mental illness does age you, like George said, the medicines. And then at one point, because he's seeing a social worker, that program's been cut. There's no more meds. Guess what happens when you're not on your meds? The disorder that you have intensifies because it's no longer being controlled. So that's where, again, the Joker's coming. And the cello, I mean, listen to this piece without the movie. It's amazing. You could almost hear him in the music coming out. I wanted George to come in on the technical parts, because for some reason they shot long, narrow alleyways. Every time they showed Gotham, it was a long, narrow path. But when they had the Joker, it was always up in his face. So I don't know what they were trying to reference.
Cinematically, it was beautiful. I noticed in the first shot when they busted the damn sign over his face. I was even looking at him at the ground. I was looking at everything else, how it was shot. It looked amazing.
Yeah.
The long narrow shots is in school how they described it. I guess it was just like your focus on everything, how your mind takes and how it can. I can't even think of the words.
Right.
Of how your mind can stretch on certain moments, on certain events in in certain events in your life. Like you're kind of like you're losing it. Yeah. Yeah, and then when he's getting up in his face, he's finding himself.
Yeah.
Oh, see, I don't know those parts. I just know what I know.
It was awesome.
But it was Joaquin again did an amazing job. The Todd Phillips is the director.
That guy.
That dude, I'm like, wow, good job, dude. Good
He
job.
really captured, but then I seen the references to the silent film, so I seen where he derived his material, but he kind of made it his own. He picked a good actor. I don't see anybody else doing it.
Yep.
Joaquin lost a lot of weight to play that role, but then, like I said, he gained weight. Robert De Niro comes out.
De Niro.
I heard they bumped heads on set.
Well, that's what I
yeah.
heard, but
I hope not.
It kinda
I don't
worked-
want that to
I
happen.
heard that
I think it worked
Phoenix.
as-
I heard Phoenix is hard to get along with. That's why.
Oh, one of those actors. You know, it's never ceased to amaze me. Batman was hard to get along with. This guy.
This guy. But it was beautiful at the end part where he was just sitting there, already made his way in, telling his little raunchy jokes where he was already getting booed, but he was giving them information that he wanted to, like, hey, like, he had some, like, how he planned it out, like, he was like,
At first, he was gonna shoot himself, and then he
I
kind
think
of
that's what he was gonna do, right?
He saw a line that he wrote that I hope my death makes more sense than my life, and he just kind of it turned to where he ended up shooting De Niro in the head. So,
but just the way he was playing it out, dude.
It's kind of twisted because then I think at the middle of the film they kind of put that he gets involved with a woman because all of a sudden Arthur gains confidence and goes kissing a woman and starts dating her. But then they put that it was all in his head.
Exactly.
So then
that's the part I was talking about.
Get to the end where I'm wondering, it was the whole damn thing in his head. Was this just the kooks in the behind the cell just talking to his therapist?
Exactly. I don't know.
And it's all made up.
I think this. I think that was real. Where he was wrecked and then, like you said, those guys pulled him out. And even though, like, hey, this guy was a Joker guy, but he was fully dressed. He's like, I just saw this guy on TV shoot this asshole. Let me
just admit to the murder.
And I love the part where he finally he gets the blood.
He gets
Oh yeah,
smile.
at the end, right?
Yeah. So and like. What's gonna happen with the makeup? It's gonna change. It's gonna stay the same, or is this it?
Yeah.
I don't understand. I don't care. It's awesome.
I think he is gonna stay the same. I think that's who he is.
This movie was a big deal. It came out for our 1 year anniversary.
1 year, I forgot. Did we
1
mention that?
year, bro.
1
We
year,
even
the
mentioned
board.
that.
There was a lot
Thanks
of
for looking.
there was a lot of controversy with this movie. I know a lot of theaters got not death threats, but shooting threats. I know there was cops on my location for a while.
Dude, we went to go see it before it even came out at like 10 something at night, and we walked out of there like, and there was a cop walking around. I was just. I'll get shot.
It's a good thing.
like,
It's a good thing he didn't have his green hair.
I can see why.
Exactly.
I know they were telling people not to go see this movie. I can see why. Because in this one, they made it to where Joker was the hero and almost godlike. So a lot of people were on his side, and it goes to that whole thing where the rich versus the poor.
Yeah.
So I can see it definitely now with the snowflake generation. Somebody could see that. Like, you know what? I want to do that. He could do it. I want to do it. So I can see why. Like a lot of people had an issue with it. I mean, but that snowflake generation, your parents, if they don't teach you differently, then that's on them. That's not your fault. So, unless you pick up a gun, then it is your fucking fault.
Yeah, exactly.
Anything else that I leave out? Did we leave out
Can't get
anything?
on that. I wish I knew names because the character who played this, the actor who played this mother, she was awesome. She's been in numerous things like American Horror Story. She's been in awesome shit.
Okay.
The girl he had an interest in, which
Domino.
the
She was
motherfucker
cute.
was sitting under his couch.
Yeah.
And then that's what I was like, okay. And then how she was like, don't you live
Yeah.
like this? I was like,
Oh, it was all fake.
and then it was like, I had like a fucking the Fight Club moment. I was like, oh no! I was like, yes, and I was like, yes.
I knew it was
like, no,
fake
yes.
when she opened the door and called him by his name.
Yeah.
I said, how do you know his name?
Well, you know,
I was like, no.
Maybe he
this-
said,
this
"Hey,
is
I'm
all
on
I said."
fire.
See, there's a little points that you got to pick up on if you're a strong movie viewer like we
Yeah.
are. We pick up on those hints. I'm like, there's no way she could have known his name because you don't know weirdos down the street. Sorry, you just don't.
It was-
yeah, especially a single mother.
Yeah.
It was an-
You look too
yeah.
nice to be a black person to be in that time.
It was
frame, to be, you know,
It was an intense movie. It
love
was
it.
really sad. You know, it's that whole child abuse
Yeah,
thing.
that's
Yeah,
right. Thank you for
like
bringing that
yeah, child abuse.
that's what made him. And like
I've
the
seen
mom
all
allowed her boyfriend to do it and do it to her. So who knows
Dude, yeah.
what else happened to him because he was tied to a radiator and
Ow.
it was intense. Like what made a monster. And it's always a parent. There's no such thing as a bad kid. It's the parents' fault.
And I want to make a point too, where a perfect example what Joker is, what Joker was, Joker is Joker. What the fuck? That when his coworkers came to see him and they asked him questions, and he ends up knifing, he makes a little happy face, and he end up using the scissors on that big dude, and the little midget
Oh, the
guy was
coworker.
like, "Oh no, no!" And then he's like,
This is
"Go
my-
ahead, like." You know,
Yeah.
he'll kill you or set you free,
Yeah.
give you $1,000, and here, go about your business. And then it was perfect. He says, "You're always nice to me," and I was sticking in my head. I was like, "That's why I'm always nice to people because
You never
damn
know.
it,
Yeah, you
you
never know when you come across a
I
great
like when he
movie,
scared him. Ah,
great
it was-
cinematography,
Yeah.
great actor.
Oh, dude.
yeah.
Go watch it. 2 thumbs up for me.
2 fucking thumbs up for me.
Recommendations for me. Go watch Parenthood with Joaquin Phoenix.
Parenthood with Joaquin Phoenix.
I mean, they're Joker fans here.
Yeah. Signs with Joaquin Phoenix.
We watched it, yeah.
We watched that the
Watched
other
it last
night.
night, yeah. I can just think of Gladiator.
Yes.
Because
Oh, yeah.
if you're gonna watch Gladiator, get the Blu-ray, get the DVD cut, and
Yeah.
get the uncut version because they show a lot of more of Joaquin Phoenix and they show a lot
The
of
Phoenix.
asshole.
The Phoenix.
He was like the worst of the Caesars I've seen. I mean, when he was a Caesar, I think he was Caesar. Caesar. He was the worst Caesar I've seen. But watch the uncut version of
Subscribe.
Gladiator.
Like,
1
subscribe,
year.
share.
1
Woo,
year.
we made it.
Year.
Come back and watch us.
Share.
Share.
Share had Oscar.
What's up? Yeah. Jay.